Square and Compass podcast. Please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Anything you guys want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry, please let me know. When it comes to these streams, these 1 a.m. streams, 1 a.m. Eastern, I don't have any specific topics. I just hang out, chat with people, see who jumps on, see who wants to say hello. So let's give it some time. Let's see who joins. As always, please hit like, please hit subscribe. All right, let's wait to see who joins. Hit like, hit subscribe, answer the question if you want. The reason being, I have recently, or earlier today on the 1 p.m. Eastern stream, I was talking about the Ontario budget. I'm never worried, Mary Heath. Thank you for being here. And the budget itself was focused on, amongst other things, strengthening and growing public transit. Within Ontario, that actually matters quite a bit for Freemasonry. You can enjoy our Masonic meetings if you can't make it to our Masonic meetings, and many Freemasons, especially younger ones, including myself, may be reliant upon public transit to travel. And if you look at Northern Ontario, that is a huge issue, the ability to actually use public transit to get around these Northern Ontario communities. So keep that in mind. Depends on which public transit you're taking and the community in which you live, but there can definitely be, in 2026, and I've seen it myself, dangerous people within the public transit system. So you're not wrong. And part of that also goes on to better enforcement. Part of that also goes on to, as well as proper public enforcement. Another big issue with that goes to having buses and trains with video equipment, properly trained drivers, security at the stations. All that stuff costs money, but all that stuff is important. And Dylan is not wrong either. The world is also very much not a safe place. But maybe in some ways, Freemasonry can make things safer. I think that Freemasonry, by developing and growing civic institutions, can in fact create a safer world, a world in which we know each other, care about each other, and want to support each other. Life is becoming tougher. You're not wrong. And it's unfortunate because life was plenty tough before we got here, right before this moment. And so I don't think it needs to get tougher. I think we need to find a way to make life not softer per se, but easier, better. We need to help each other more, be there for one another more. So I am well, Dylan. I hope you're well also. Good morning to you. Striker, thank you for liking. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm still streaming 1 a.m., 1 p.m., Monday through Friday, as well as I post content, social media shorts, all that good jazz. It depends on the lodge. I mean, certainly you could offer to volunteer for them in terms of, they need help with, depending on the building, that they may need help with things like, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Maybe not. They may need help with things like, mowing the lawn or building maintenance or building care. The other thing you can always offer is, if you own a business of some sort, you can offer them, let's say you own a restaurant, you can offer to cater their events for them, or you can offer services to them, or you can offer products to them, like, offer them pens, hats, whatever it is that they can use in their meetings, like branded content that both helps promote your business as well as gives the Masonic Lodge some cool swag. So really there are ways. You have to talk to the Masonic Lodge itself. Most Masons try to keep volunteer work within the lodge itself, but I mean, so like for example, this weekend, Easter weekend, there is a Masonic Lodge in Chicago that is, to my knowledge, providing meals at a homeless shelter, or sorry, meals at a church. I'm sure that in many cases it's not going to be exclusive to the Masons. It'll be friends of the Masons, family members of the Masons who'll be there as well. Many times, friends will come out to public events or meetings or open houses. So you have to talk to the lodge itself, and see. Thank you, almost, for the bless you, almost. Yes, I almost sneezed, so I appreciate the almost bless you. Well, Freemasonry is not a cult, so you can get down with it. And Freemasonry has a pretty decent history, to be honest, of making a lot of the world a better place. I mean, Trevor, I'm sorry that everybody treats you like a hobo. Um, and I'm also sorry that you're precariously housed. Housing is not getting any cheaper, energy is not getting any cheaper, and so I can imagine it's a pretty scary time, and people treating you badly is not going to help anything. So I hope that you do better. Or I hope that you get better. I hope you find better housing options. I hope that people treat you better as well. Um, I wish. I mean, it's really hard. Believe me, I get it. It's hard to put your guard down in 2026. That is without a doubt true. Um, it's hard to put your guard down anytime. Freemasonry can provide you with an opportunity and a place to put your guard down. So, simulation, press start because you're amongst friends, right? Simulation. Let's not press start. Let's instead hit the like button and the subscribe button, and then you can hit start after or press start after. How's it going? Thank you for being here. Please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'd very much appreciate it. And let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. Positive, negative, or neutral. I'd love to hear it. Well, which documentaries are you referring to, John Wayne? Well, I like Slipknot as well. I don't know if maggot is a reference to Slipknot fans. They call themselves the maggots or something. That's weird. But Sierra Foxtrot, please hit like and subscribe. Well, thanks, Simulation. I appreciate you being here just to listen and learn. I mean, these 1 a.m. streams, I don't have a ton of discussion, or sorry, a ton of like topics planned. Rather, what I wait for is people to come on with questions. Um, and I answer them as best I can. I've never heard of the four bishops, so I can't speak for that. Jason, I don't necessarily disagree, but I think we need to keep clavicular in mind, because he represents kind of, if nothing else, he represents a place virtually that young men will go instead of Freemasonry. And I don't know if you saw the clip, but he basically said, in response to Andrew Callahan, that he did not see any benefit in person community or friendship outside of what it could do for streaming. And so when you see that, you have to think a lot of people are thinking the same way he is, and you need to kind of call that, if not call that out, at least note that that is the way people are thinking, that is the way popular people are thinking. Because if clavicular does not see a benefit in community and friendship outside of streams, will anybody? Will any of his fans? It's a real problem, unfortunately. But if he's saying it, he's not the only one thinking it, right? If he's saying it, other people are at least thinking it, if not saying it themselves. And that is where the real danger comes. Trevor Phillips, I don't really. So when I was a kid, I used to want to be like American Psycho. So are you saying that you wanted to be kind of without emotion and psychotic because doing so would protect you from having a broken heart? Is kind of the what I'm getting from that? I mean, I think the Knights of Columbus is a wonderful organization. I've got a few people on here who are Knights of Columbus. They are good people. They're charitable. They're kind. They work hard. They are part of the community. So I have no issues with the Knights of Columbus. I think society is made better through the creation and engagement of civic institutions, whether they be Knights of Columbus or any other groups or organizations. Um, Whether it be, but I've never heard of these four cardinals being burned. I do not know to what you are referring. I don't even know if most Knights of Columbus would know what you're referring. Well, that's kind of the point of it, right? I mean, I am a huge Brett. Wait, I never know it's Brett Easton Ellis. There you go, Brett. I'm a huge Brett Easton Ellis fan. Honestly, though, probably American Psycho is my least favorite of his books. I really like Less Than Zero, which was his debut book, and I thought it was really good. I also like The Informants or The Informers. Um, I really like The Informers a lot, both the book and the movie, which is available on Tubi here in Canada. So there is that as well. I think Brett Easton Ellis and what he writes about can be taken as a pretty decent warning for society as a whole. And when you see the declining membership in civic institutions, what that means is there's less neighbors, less friends. People care less. And when people care less, this is what happens, right? You see kind of degeneration of a sort. It's going well, Andy. Bug, one of my favorite movies, Bug.44. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button. I don't think I've read Glamorama, if I recall correctly, but I loved Lesson Zero. I liked Rules of Attraction. I loved The Informers. I read his follow up to Lesson Zero, which I thought was really good as well. I didn't mind American Psycho, but it wasn't my favorite. Thank you, Christ Enlightenment. I hope that you are blessed as well. I mean, people definitely look up to Clavicular. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you don't get to have as much content as he does or as many followers as he does, unless at least a percentage of them look up to him. And I think that's concerning because what it means is, again, if he doesn't see the benefit in things like community and friendship, all of which is Masonic in its kind of nature, what does that mean for our ability to recruit people, to get new people in? What does that mean for ability to grow as a organization? What are these documentaries of which you speak? I've seen documentaries about Freemasonry. I've never heard these four cardinals burning thing. Um, well, I mean, the Crusades happened. That's true. But what does that have to do with Freemasonry? Last year discussing the Knights Templar, which is a York Rite body of Freemasonry. However, you need to keep in mind Freemasonry started in 1717. The Knights Templar originally existed from the 11th century to the 14th century, or the 12th to the 14th. They disbanded in 1308, sorry, 1307. There was about a 400 and something year difference from the end of the Knights Templar to the start of Freemasonry. Um, I'm on all the time, 14 words. I'm still not a fan of your title, though, that's for sure. You need to become more tolerant and kind to people. With a YouTube handle like that, my suspicion is there's not a lot of tolerance or kindness within your heart. Well, I mean, it's more like it's more what do people value, right? You can use the popularity of online personalities as a gauge of what people are valuing or not valuing. If clavicular is very popular, it shows that people are valuing how one looks and how much sway one has and how much money one has over helping others and supporting others and developing a connection. And if that's the case, then Freemasonry becomes even more important as a counterbalance to that and as a way to demonstrate that actually friendship, brotherhood, kindness is relevant, matters, and does matter more than how you look. But if Freemasonry continues to decline in relevance, that space gets filled up by clavicular or Andrew Tate or the manosphere in general. You hope so, Trevor Phillips. Doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes you just do good things to do good things, and then whatever happens, happens. I've seen enough people do good things and be screwed that I think you have to be really careful about telling people that if they do good things, they'll get a good result. I think the better thing to say is you do good things because it's the right thing to do, and you just let the chips fall where they may after the fact. But unfortunately, there's no guarantee that doing good things will result in good things for you. It's better to say you do good things because it's good, and you're not the most important character, right? Doing a good thing for somebody else, even if you get nothing in return, is still worth it because you're not the main character in the story of this world. You're simply part of the world and you have a responsibility to make it better, regardless of what happens to you. Hello, Light Free, welcome back. I mean, he acted pretty weird inside the interview as well, so but I have seen some clips of him outside of the interview. He doesn't seem like a particularly good role model, but the fact that he is a role model for a lot of young men begs the question why and what does it say about our society that somebody like him can become a role model for so many people? And is one of the issues the fact that we do not have a decent civic institution anymore that can provide better role models and better choices for people? Um, that is true, Trevor Phillips. What do you think? I don't know enough about Hinduism to say um, Sakasham, but I will say I've known Hindu Freemasons. They are good people. They're good brothers. They're part of the craft, and I'm not going to be a reviler of anyone's religious beliefs. No, pay your parking tickets. Foos, Faust, pay your parking tickets. No, Light Free, you are not the main character. 40, I'm a YouTuber, so please hit like and subscribe. I'm not a Muslim, but I am a Freemason, and I've known many Muslim Freemasons. Um, unless we are going to say that Light Free is in fact the main character and we're all just figments of his imagination, in which case, thank you for letting me be a streamer. I am also not a Satanist. Freemasonry is not satanic. Well, in that case, Light Free, just keep living. Who are we checking? I don't know what it means to check people. This whole thing in my YouTube channel is a way for me to talk about Freemasonry and how much I love it and try to turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession by creating content and monetizing that content. Elbow, I do not know who George, David, and Kirkbot are, so I have no idea what I think about the fight. I'll say we shouldn't be fighting each other unless it's in a professional setting. Otherwise, we should use our words. Yes, we need to keep Light Free alive for as long as possible, apparently. So let's keep him eating those vegetables and let's keep him here. I mean, I don't want to put anybody in their place per se. I do think we do need to remember that we are not the main character as much as we like to think we are. And so that's why I think the danger of doing good things with the expectation that, good things will happen to you is if it doesn't happen, or at least if you don't recognize it as happening to you, it's possible that good things can happen and you don't recognize them. But if you do something good and you don't get a return that you feel you're owed, that is when you start to become bitter and resentful, which is a very dangerous place to get to. They are distinct. They are not a Masonic order. I understand there are many Masons who are part of the Orange Order, but they're still separate organizations. So you need to keep that in mind. Trevor Phillips, I mean, sure. I I mean, obviously we don't have those ceremonies. It's not like that at all. However, certainly the idea of a bunch of guys hanging out together, kind of silly, enjoying each other's company, there's a lot of truth to that. The idea of wanting ribs and being excited to eat ribs, that's very true. Freemasons care a lot about what happens at dinners. It's one of my favorite episodes, I'll say that. And I think most Freemasons I know really do love that episode quite a bit. Trevor, we have the Order of Women Freemasons, absolutely. We also have, so that's really cool. We have the Order of Women Freemasons. We also have Eastern Star, which is a Masonic youth group for women and men. And we have the Order of Rainbow, which is for young women ages 11 to 21. Maybe I'm not a good man. Yes, I got a big nose. Awesome. Please hit like and subscribe. I don't know if I am a good man or not. Does anybody know if we're good men or not? I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, the better question might be, how do you define what it means to be a good man? Right? That's probably worth a question as well. I think to be a good person is to live in accordance with nature as much as you possibly can. Well, you shouldn't be evil. Um, at least you shouldn't want to be evil. The only way to know you're a good man is to live through Christ. That's one idea. I'm not sure if I would accept that, though. I think there are many different religions, and it is possible to be a good man and be a follower of any of those religions. Or, for that matter, I think it's possible to be a good man and not follow any of those religions at all. I don't necessarily think that being a good man in this life is a religious question. Now, if you want questions about salvation, getting over to the next world, that might be a question for your priest or your rabbi or the church, but that's a question of salvation. That's not a question that relates to being a good man here on earth. Hello. Um, so I don't know what the Mormons' Grand Templar is. Freemasonry is a civic institution. Mormonism is a religion. They occupy different spaces. I've never heard of that before. I am wheelchair bound. I'm in a wheelchair. Um, well, good for you, Steve. Welcome, everybody. I hope you guys will take a moment to please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're all doing very well. I do not, Trevor. I don't think we need bad people on earth to make good people feel better. I don't think that's how it works. Um, I think it's possible to simply be a good person without comparison to others. Comparison is a thief of joy. Instead of focusing on whether you're a good person or not a good person, just focus on how you can be the best version of yourself and let other people worry about being good or not good. Because one of the biggest mistakes I've found you can make in life is to overemphasize this idea of I'm good based on how others act. That's not a helpful approach. So don't do that. Toxic, you look like you should hit the like button and the subscribe button. I would be grateful. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. Joe Schmo, please hit like and subscribe as well. Yes, be the best version of yourself. Why not? You've only got one life here to live. So why not try to be the best version that you possibly can be? Seems to me you're better off than not. Steve, I'm very sorry. I love cats, so that makes me sad. I hope that you you get another cat and your next cat does better. Oh, thank you for the star, Jason. I don't know what that means, Donovan, but I like all animals. So I mean, if you are, when you say you take estrogen, I don't know if that means that you're trans or transitioning or have a medical condition, like you're a woman but you have low estrogen. You can be, you can join the Order of Women Freemasons. There's Co-Masonry. There's Eastern Star. You could absolutely be part of Freemasonry, excuse me, and it'd be great to have you. You can look at Order of Women Freemasons. They are primarily out of England. However, there are many different chapters throughout the world. What am I doing? What are we all doing? That is a very broad question, but it's a very valuable question as well. I think we'd all do better asking ourselves that sometimes. Um, and ultimately, what I would say is we should all focus on trying to do our best. And believe me, I know how that sounds, and a lot of people say that sounds very silly or very trite, but it's true. Do the best, be the best you can be. What else can you do? Not to steal from the army. I think Freemasonry teaches us that. It's almost impossible to be perfect. We can't be perfect. It actually is impossible, but we can try to be better than we were yesterday. And every day we can try to be better. I personally think that's a pretty decent goal. Millie, please hit like and subscribe, Millie. A Freemason is a member of a Masonic lodge or Masonic body. So basically, it's a designation of membership within a club called the Freemasons. Freemasonry, there are lodges around the world. However, each group is self-governed. Each group governs itself, or each jurisdiction governs itself. Um, it evolved from stonemason guilds in the Middle Ages. So a Freemason is basically a member of a social club or a civic organization that has existed for about 300 years. Um, Light free, I get it. A lot of people, I mean, I get that way sometimes, where I oftentimes do not want to be necessarily around people. I understand how people can feel that way, but unfortunately, however it is you may feel about that, people just happen to need people. There's really not much that can be done about it. So, as much as you may like to think otherwise, I'm very sorry to let you know this. You need people sometimes. Everybody does. Um, well, we're not trying to damn anybody. Millie, I mean, what do you do with your friends when you go out, right? It's all about friendship and brotherhood. The goal of it at the start was to associate with one another, to create friendships, to create brotherhood. After that, we developed ceremonies and rituals to create bonds of brotherhood. We very often engage in charity work. We care about one another and our brothers who might be sick or ill or in distress or their families. We also try to support our brothers as much as we can. We try to make the world a better place. I've often said that when it comes to Freemasonry, it's about trying to build a better world through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. Yes, Freemasonry, we have rituals or ceremonies. It's very similar or akin to having a family recipe that gets passed down from generation to generation, right? They're a way to bond brethren together. Many groups have rituals, individuals have rituals. When you wake up in the morning, you might have a certain ritual that you do. Churches or religions have rituals, but secular organizations and groups have rituals as well. Um, and Freemasonry is definitely not where magic meets cybernetics. What type of cards pre-COVID? I mean, not as a general rule, but I do keep my Masonic dues cards. I collect those, and it's something I really enjoy keeping. I like to think Masons are chill. I don't know if we always succeed in again, every Mason's different. Every Mason has different personalities to them. So it's very hard to say necessarily what every Mason is like. But I think Freemasonry definitely encourages the ethics of temperance, which is incredibly valuable. Explain my last ritual. My last ritual in which I took part in was a degree. It was a what was the degree? It was a third degree, so it was advancing somebody to the degree of Master Mason, which is basically similar to almost graduating from high school. You can think of it as. It's the final degree at which point you become a Master Mason. It's a way to explain more about the craft and again provide a bond of brotherhood through shared experiences. Um, Ethan, I'm talking about Freemasonry. I never tell specifics about the rituals because that's not my place to say. It provides spoilers. I don't want to spoil anything for new Masons joining. But more importantly, the value of the rituals is it creates bonds of brotherhood through shared experiences. If I start telling people what the rituals are all about, all that does is take away the bonds of brotherhood. You should join and learn that way. What I will say, I always say this, there's nothing within any Masonic ritual that is illegal, immoral, or against one's civic, religious, or moral responsibilities or familial responsibilities. That's not true. I would say Freemasonry teaches ethics at every level. So it's not men exclusive. There are fraternal orders which are men exclusive, but there's also the Order of Women Freemasons, Eastern Star, and there's even Co-Masonry and Rainbow for Young Women, all of which are open to women. Order of Women Freemasons is for women exclusively. Um, Steve of the Water, thank you. Please hit like and subscribe. Um, Ethan, I am not religious. I believe in a supreme being, but I am not religious. Freemasonry, you do not need to be religious to be a Freemason. Um, you just need to believe in a supreme being. I do believe in a supreme being. However, my supreme being is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry, not a particular religious figure. However, I have great respect for different religions, and I try to be conversant and visit different religions when I can. Um, I mean, Jason is the same thing. I think Freemasonry declining in relevance, the consequence of that is people like Andrew Tate have stepped in and have taken over and have started telling young men, especially, but men in general, kind of giving them advice on how to live. And it's a very nihilistic, lonely, isolating way to live one's life based on getting all you can for yourself as opposed to community and support. And Freemasonry teaches the opposite. But unless we in Freemasonry can find a way to be relevant again, we have nobody to blame but ourselves as men like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan get more views and more airtime and more influence and more relevance. I've been a Freemason for just about 20 years. So I joined in 2007. It's crazy to think it's been that long. I don't know what the chewing rag is, but I've never heard of it before, so almost certainly not. Um, 14 words. You need to find a better life. Thoughts on UFC salaries? I probably those guys need to be paid more, but I don't know enough about it to speak directly. I'm always going to support people getting paid more, like without a doubt. And UFC, I mean, those guys are putting their lives on the line, so they should be well compensated. Also, it's relatively short career, right? If you're a UFC fighter, you're not doing 30, 40 years in UFC the way you can work in a factory for 30 or 40 years. So you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at salaries. No, Frank, you will not get psychic powers becoming a Freemason. I'm 42 years old. Is that true? Blue Liner 6? I'm curious. I'm going to check CNN. Let's see what we got. Iran strikes Kuwaiti tanker full of oil off Dubai. The vessel was hit hours after Trump threatened to obliterate Iran's nuclear energy. Still don't see anything about ground troops. Light free, I'm not going to tell you. That's not my place to say, but again, it's nothing that is illegal, immoral, or against one's civic, religious, or familial responsibilities. Again, it's no different than asking for the ingredients of a family recipe. I'm not the exclusive member of the family. It's not my place to share the family recipe with anybody. Um, I mean, David, I don't believe in supernatural, but if that is your definition of magic, then I certainly believe in the ability to change perception and to change perceptions. I think it's obvious that that's possible. So, in that case, I guess I would agree with you. All right, 14. So Freemasonry is not a job, but this channel is a job. And I'm trying to turn my passion for Freemasonry into a profession by creating content and then hopefully getting subscribers, getting super chats, getting gifts, getting brand connect. I hope that you guys will consider, if you can, subscribing to this channel, hitting like, hitting subscribe. I would be grateful for the support. Alpha Omega 2030. You know what the Alpha Omega is for this channel? Hitting the like and subscribe button. Oh, it's a YouTube term. You can send, depending where you're at, and if it's possible, you can send virtual gifts. You can send like stars or the number 67. It's all virtual. But as a consequence of those, I get rubies or coins. They're virtual, and then YouTube converts them into money. Like just what Jason did. Sent a gift. Sent a silver star. Um, he got banned for saying it should be based on one's race. Anybody can have any opinion on Israel, and it's completely up to you, but you shouldn't be basing that on race or one's race. That is not cool. We're a brotherhood of man here on YouTube, so there you go. Brian Ray, welcome. Thank you for being here. I hope you'll take the moment to hit the like button and the subscribe button. I would be most grateful. I'm trying to make this my job, so help me out, Millie. Hit the subscribe button. Yes, Vac Life, Vas Life, Vac Life. I am a Freemason. I'm here talking about Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have on Freemasonry, let me know. It would be much obliged. Freemasonry does not do satanic rituals. I've been a Freemason for forever and a day. I've been a Freemason for just about 20 years. never seen anything within Freemasonry that would indicate anything satanic. So, very sorry to disappoint you. I did not sign a contract of blood to join. I would not join an organization that wanted me um, to sign a in blood for a variety of reasons. The main one being it would be unhygienic, and I do not want to sign anything that would be unhygienic. Why are you all in caps, Vac Life? You need to calm down with all the caps. So when you say, how did I become a Freemason? I became a Freemason the same way everybody does, of my own free will and accord. I approached the lodge, I expressed my interest in joining, and I went from there. Um, when you say, why did you join? I mean, I joined because my dad was a Freemason, and I grew up seeing the benefits of it, going to the Christmas parties, seeing some of the charitable works they did, and I've always been inclined to support civic life and civic engagement. And because of both of those things, it always made sense to me that I would join sooner or later. Um, Now, when you say, what's the point in joining? Every Freemason will decide that for himself. There is no singular point to joining Freemasonry. Every Freemason needs to make that decision for himself. For me, it's about trying to make the world a better place through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. For others, it can be joining because your family were Masons. Others may be looking for friendship or community. Others may be looking for kind of a social safety net. Others may simply be wanting to join a historical organization. No two people have exactly the same reasons. Others may have just found out their friends are Masons and want to spend more time with them. One of the coolest things about that, genuinely, is the fact that there's no singular reason to join. But at its core, Freemasonry is trying to fulfill the same desire almost every human being has, which is the desire for belonging, the desire to be part of something bigger than themselves, right? That is human nature. I have a cat, but I'm not married. So I'm just me and my cat. I mean, in some ways, I suppose it's not. I mean, you could certainly it's trying to fulfill the same kind of desires as a fraternity or a frat house, which is a sense of belonging. But I would say certainly our Freemasonry is much older than quote unquote frat houses and much more traditional. And there's much more of a focus on service and charitable activities. Based on what I understand, fraternities are much more about the fellowship exclusively, although fellowship is a major part of Freemasonry. I know about the Clampers a little bit. I want to interview them for my podcast, Gumby, because I think it'd be really cool. Sadly, though, I know so little about it. I wish I knew more. Any civic organization, though, or civic group, I'm going to be supportive of. Because I think the more civic groups we have in society, the better off society will be, the better off our communities will be. Yeah, well, I'm a bit concerned about the whole liar, L-I-E-R, it's L-I-A-R. It is a private organization. That's not incorrect. However, that doesn't mean we lie about it, and that doesn't mean we don't have many public facing activities. So you need to keep that in mind as well. And maybe reconsider your thoughts on it. Some support it, some don't. There are still a lot of people whose idea is that the emphasis should be on kind of being more quiet about Freemasonry, being more proud about Freemasonry. I personally, though, think you have to do what you think is best. And a lot of Masons absolutely support it as well. So it's at the end of the day about doing what you think is best more than anything else. And I'm grateful for a lot of support I have received through Freemasonry. Through this channel. It's been wonderful to see all the support. I mean, I don't know enough about Scientology to say, but to my knowledge, Scientology is more of a religion. Freemasonry occupies a different space. It occupies the civic space, not the religious space. I mean, I'm a Freemason. My dad's a Freemason. My grandfathers were both Freemasons. So I don't really know what you mean by that, Helen. My dad's very proud of my Masonic journey. He's been to a lot of the meetings, and I'm grateful for every meeting he's been to of mine. He lives in a different province. So we don't get to see each other as much as I'd like, but I'm grateful for every time he's been part of it. My dad did want, I mean, my dad never forced me to join. He never talked to me and said, you have to join, nor did he ever talk to me and say, you don't have to join. He left it up to me and my own decisions. Mr. Dexstar, please like and subscribe. You're speaking of Glenn Jacobs, otherwise known as Kane. I don't get paid anything by my lodge, nor do I want to. So if you want to help me out with that VAC life, then I hope that you will subscribe to the channel and do a super chat. This isn't about me promoting membership per se. This is about me talking about why I love Freemasonry and leaving it at that. And people can do with that information what they will. When you say professional, do you mean you have to be a professional to be a Freemason? I mean, we have Freemasons who are everything from plumbers to lawyers and everything in between. Freemasonry, it's about the internal, not the external. So it's not about what you do. It's about the way you treat the people around you. So I'm a member of 5 Masonic lodges. The dues are anywhere from, the cheapest is $25 American per year. The most expensive is $250 per year. So that's a range, right? It just depends on, amongst other things, it just depends on the expenses of the lodge itself. Doing rituals seems kind of weird. Why does it seem weird? We've all done rituals of some sort. I mean, human nature involves a lot of doing rituals. When you wake up in the morning, you have a type of ritual, right? Why does ritual seem inherently weird? And why is it inherently satanic? That's something I don't understand either. Rituals are simply a prescribed way of doing things followed by a large group of people. The purpose of which, amongst other things, is to create bonds of brotherhood through shared experiences. Apparently not, because I don't have much money and I'm still here. Well, that's cool, best year, but I never say what it is, so I'm not going to confirm nor deny. Freemasonry is for Christians. I know many Christian Freemasons. Again, I'm not sure why a ritual is inherently satanic, as opposed to, I mean, Christianity has rituals by definition, right? Well, I mean, if that works for you, then more power to you, I suppose. I'm not going to tell you, if you're finding peace and comfort through rituals involving your religious beliefs and you're not looking for anything else, then good for you. It sounds like you've already got it figured out. For me, I've never been one for religion per se. I respect everybody's religion and everybody's right to religious beliefs. but it's not one thing that I'm necessarily interested in myself. I tend to find community and support through Freemasonry. Hello, Sublime. Please hit like and subscribe. Joshua, welcome back. Please hit like and subscribe as well. Solicitors, as in lawyers. I've known some lawyers who are Freemasons. I've also known plumbers, electricians, people who are retired, police officers, and everything in between. I've known many Christians who are Freemasons, and Freemasonry is not a secret society because here I am talking about it. It's a society that has private elements to it, but that's not the same thing as saying it is a quote unquote secret society. And Wolfen, please hit like and subscribe. I'd be much obliged. Consider a super chat. I don't think it's your place to say that, Wolf, and I don't think that's fair. People get to define themselves. And if they want to, if they are Christians, they go to church. If they call themselves Christian, that's good enough for me. It's not my place or your place to say who is and isn't a quote unquote real Christian. 33rd degree is not demonic, nor is any degree within Freemasonry demonic. Would it make a difference if I was Socks? Interesting name. Freemasonry welcomes men of all different faiths, backgrounds, ethnicities, Jewish, Christian, Hindu, Sikh, and everything in between. I know, based on my experiences, that there is no demonic degrees within Freemasonry. I think for the purposes of this stream, we're talking about Freemasonry. We're not going to get into theological discussions. So long as you treat everybody with respect, regardless of their ethnicity or their religion, that's the most important thing. I think you're talking about P2. P2 is and was never a Masonic order. It was never recognized as a Masonic order. I cannot, for example, visit their lodges because they're not Masonic. In terms of is it still around or not, I have no idea. I'm going to call you Ish, I-S-H. The purpose of Freemasons, every Mason needs to decide for himself. But at its core, what is the difference? What is the purpose of going with your friends on a Friday night? In many cases, what I've come to say is the purpose or the belief of Freemasonry is that it is worth spending time with other people and it's worth spending time with one another. For me, the purpose of Freemasonry is to try to create a better world through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. And I'm grateful that Freemasonry allows me to do that. And by the way, what is this weird obsession with the 33rd degree everybody has? I don't get it. 33rd is not the highest degree within Freemasonry. It's the 3rd degree. Well, I know my research of the 33rd degree. And I also know the 33rd degree Masons I've had the pleasure of knowing. And I know that none of them are satanic or demonic in any way. I know it's called the Sovereign Grand Inspector General. I know some of the basic symbolism therein. Now, obviously, I'm not a 33rd, so I can't know everything. I don't pretend to, and it's not my place to know everything unless or until I am a 33rd degree. What I do know is that 33rd is not the highest degree within Freemasonry. The highest degree within Freemasonry is the 3rd degree. And this obsession with 33rd completely misunderstands what Freemasonry is, the purpose behind it, or how it operates. One of the biggest mistakes we have now is this weird obsession in the public with the 33rd degree as somehow being a higher or more important degree. It's not. A 33rd has no leadership capabilities within a craft lodge. He is not higher than a 3rd degree. He does not set rules for the lodge, nor does he have any influence over the decision-making of the craft lodge. Well, I've been a Mason for 20 years, so maybe Home Rose, you don't understand a single thing about this. I mean, I've never met a satanic Freemason. I've met Christian Freemasons, Muslim Freemasons, Jewish Freemasons, Hindu, Sikh. I've met a couple Wiccan, Wiccan Freemasons, never met any quote unquote satanic Freemasons. So maybe that's just not the case. What's a Mason? A Mason is a member of a Masonic lodge, which is a social group or a civic club that has existed for about 300 years, more than that, and evolved from the stone Masonic guilds of the Middle Ages. Um, so there you go. Yes, I mean, for me, my supreme being is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry and science. So there you go. And home, what are you basing that on? Your local Spurs fan? Thank you for just waking up, and thank you for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button. It'd be much appreciated. 42, you already asked me that. I got a very squeaky table. I need to work on that. But again, the top man is not, there is no top man within Freemasonry. Freemasonry is decentralized. There is no single top man within Freemasonry. That's not how it works. Um, well, then I answered now. I could have swore I answered previously, but if not, 42. Oh, is that a Masonic joke, Lump? That's pretty good. Freemasons should always act on the square. It is hip to be square within Freemasonry. Um, I know who Albert Pike was, and he's a pain in my ass at this point because people are so obsessed with that book, and they don't understand his place in Freemasonry, what that book represents, or what that book means, and it's very annoying. 654, please hit like and subscribe. The most important thing about the initiation process is you need to take the first step by approaching the lodge and expressing your interest in joining and getting to know the brothers, and them getting to know you. After that, there's an initiation process. I don't give specifics. Rather, there's nothing illegal, immoral, or against one's civic, religious, or moral responsibilities. But joining is a bit of a leap of faith. You get to know the brothers, you talk to them about the initiation process, and you go from there. But there is no single Masonic ritual. Every jurisdiction has its own slightly different initiation procedures. It depends on the lodge, at least monthly, sometimes twice a month. But if you're part of a jurisdiction or an area where there's multiple Masonic lodges, which means multiple clubs that are all Masonic, you can be out every night of the week. Gumby, I've met a couple Masons who are actually Masons, so that's really cool. Albert Pike Shrine is in Washington, D.C. That is true as well. What do you, like when we meet, what do we do? It depends on the nature of the meeting. If it's an administrative meeting, then we are discussing all the administrative tasks necessary to maintain a Masonic lodge, paying of bills, reading of correspondence, discussing any brethren who may be ill or sick or not doing well, planning for events, planning for celebrations. If it's a degree night or ritual night, then we're bringing a new candidate through. Or we may be having some type of celebration, banquet, dinner, special event. We may also get together to have a volunteer, some type of voluntary night where we're out in the community, maybe doing a blood clinic, something like that, like a blood drive to donate to the Red Cross. So it just depends on the reason the meeting was called in the first place. I can say I'm the worshipful master of one of my Masonic lodges. For the other ones, it's not my place to give out their names. They can talk about their being a Freemason, and I can talk about me being a Freemason, but I shouldn't be telling you who else are Freemasons. It's not my place to say. I'm not sure what penny members means. I did work, there were some Freemasons and corrections, I'm sure, none I ever met. My spiritual beliefs, I believe the Supreme Being is the rational nature of the universe as expressed through geometry. Hail, nice. I'm up so late because I'm talking about Freemasonry and to ask you to hit like and subscribe. Bell, hit like and subscribe. No, they do not do witchcraft. Freemasonry has nothing to do with witchcraft. Freemasonry is not a religion of any sort. I'm not going to say what happens when you join Freemasonry or the initiation process. Join and find out. Face like universe. Well, thank you for that. It is 2:06 in the morning, so I'm going to be going to sleep pretty soon. I do these streams Mondays through Fridays, 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. So I hope you'll check it out. Find me again tomorrow, or today technically, at 1 p.m. Eastern. I also have my personal YouTube channel, but I don't stream on there very much. Probably wouldn't hurt to stream on there more, to be honest. If you ask Albert Pike, he is. However, that is not a Masonic idea. That is a Albert Pike idea. And Albert Pike also did not consider Lucifer and Satan to be the same entity. I mean, I sleep sometimes during the day. My cat is awesome. Her name is Bandit. But I mean, usually I wake up around 10 a.m. So if I go to sleep around 2:30, that's 8 hours. Scientology does have nothing to do with Freemasonry. Very sorry to once again disappoint you. It's interesting, Sublime. Corn, wine, and oil are actually a very important part of the cornerstone ceremonies in Ontario. It's also how people were paid their wages back in the day. So if you were a workman, you very often got paid in corn and wine and oil. And when we say corn, it actually wasn't corn, it was grain. So my name is Cameron. Well, you don't have to be a Mason, but you can still be part of the channel. But that was how many people got their wages back in the day. Honestly, it was probably better for them to get grain instead of anything else. It was more necessary. Well, hello, Millie, and I hope you're doing well. Please hit like and subscribe. Again, the thing to keep in mind is this is an Albert Pike view. I don't have a view on this because I think I need to be more of a theological expert. His idea was that Lucifer was a separate being, almost a Prometheus type being that brings light and knowledge. However, that light and knowledge can be blinding if you do not have a proper backing. I think Albert Pike, he was Luciferian, but he was also Christian. So I think for him, without Jesus, the knowledge that Lucifer brings was too bright and too blinding for you. But that's his personal views. That's not a Masonic view. And best year, that sucks. Call the police if you see that. You should be calling the police if you see anybody vandalizing any building, including a Masonic building. What degree? I'm an 18th degree Scottish Rite. I'm also the highest year within Freemasonry, which is a 3rd degree. I'm also Worshipful Master of my lodge. I have no idea to what you're referring with this idea of making peace on earth. I don't know if we're ever going to have peace on earth. Certainly human beings seem hell-bent on not having peace on earth at the moment. But maybe. I mean, I think Freemasonry can provide lessons and tips on how to create a greater amount of peace within our society. At least I would hope so. Yes, I'm built like Humpty Dumpty. Please hit like and subscribe. I mean, I don't know how to answer that question, Sublime. Freemasonry doesn't worship. Freemasonry is not about worship. Freemasonry is not a religion, right? So that's like saying, I don't know, if I had legs, would I reveal it? Like, it's just not true. So, I mean, I suppose, but Freemasonry does not worship Satan, nor does it worship any being or any entity. Well, I'm here talking about it, Millie, so it must be the case that I am. You can talk about Freemasonry. There's simply certain private elements that, to maintain the bonds of brotherhood, we maintain as private. But that doesn't mean that we can't discuss what it means to us, why we love it, or why we hope, it continues to exist. A Mason has to believe in a supreme being. What that supreme being is up to him. And Grand Architect is really, in many ways, a placeholder. So, like 911, I mean, do you need to call? If you see anybody committing a crime, you should contact. I suppose if it's not an emergency, you should just contact the police, not emergency, if you see somebody committing vandalism, because I guess that's not an emergency in the way somebody having a heart attack is. But you should definitely contact the authorities immediately. And we within Freemasonry should also do our part by making sure our buildings are as secure and as safe as possible, including having cameras to catch anybody committing vandalism. Does it make a difference? AJ, Freemasonry. Does Freemasonry celebrates the internal and not external of a man? So how they look doesn't matter. It's about, are they good people? I mean, I don't know enough about you, Millie. You need to believe in a supreme being. You need to be of the correct age, at least over 18 or 21. Freemasonry is an adult organization, but there are youth groups. And you need to approach the lodge of your own free will and accord, not because somebody's forcing you to or has promised you money or fame or riches, none of which you'll get by being a Freemason as well. So, we got a 9/11 truther on here, which is not something I believe in. So, no, it was just what it was purported to be. It was an attack by, I guess it would be Al-Qaeda. Freemasons have no perspective on that because Freemasonry, we're not being told what to believe. We're not a religion. So every Freemason will have a different view on it. Some will, I don't know, support it on ethnic or religious or traditional grounds. Some will oppose it. There's no requirement. Freemasons, they're not going to have a view on circumcision. That's dumb. If I joined an organization that had a view on that, I don't think I'd stay a member of it because it'd be stupid. Well, you can. That's not going to make you a member, but that's going to start the process. What you need to do is approach them and make contact, and you go from there. You can send them an email. You can give them a phone call. If you do just knock on the door, make sure you bring with you a letter that has your contact information on it, because if they are too busy to talk to you or not available, at least you can leave at the lodge your contact information so they can contact you at a later time when it's more convenient for them to start the process. So you can join a lodge if you're missing both legs and both arms. Freemasonry, it's the internal, not the external. In terms of being lobotomized, it would very much depend on what the consequences of that were. If the result of the lobotomy is you're no longer capable of understanding like what's being said to you or understand what's happening, then you would not be competent. You would not be able to join Freemasonry or really any organization if it's being ethical. Because at that point, you'd not be joining of your own free will and accord. You'd be joining because somebody's forcing you to or tricking you into it. You need to know what's going on, be aware of what's going on, and be able to, enter into an organization, fill out forms, pay the dues of your own free will and accord with an understanding of what's happening. Like, I wouldn't be comfortable taking somebody's money if they had some type of brain damage to the extent they didn't know what was going on or could not understand what was happening. I love the lectures in the three. I love emulation ritual, if that's what you're referring. My favorite is the second degree tools. That's my favorite ritual within all of Freemasonry. I prefer emulation ritual myself, though Preston Webb is really cool as well. No, AJ, at that point, you're out. Gregory, I mean, I've got an awesome voice. This awesome voice is telling you to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Yeah, Yadik, hello to you as well. Thank you for being here. Holohan, are the voices in your head telling you to hit like and subscribe? Because you should. More importantly, though, if those voices in your head are persistent, or causing you any issues, you should talk to a doctor or a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist. Millie, now you're getting weird. Don't be asking about dating people on YouTube. No. Try to find people within your own life or IRL. It's not the time to be doing that. So no. My name is mentioned 0 times in the files. I've actually did a episode a while ago about Freemasonry in the Epstein files, where it's mentioned and when it's mentioned, which is not what people think. Rick, do the voices tell you to like and subscribe? Because I don't know you and you don't know me, and it's weird asking people to date on social media. Or at least on YouTube, I should say. You go on a dating app. I will look up Thomas Watson Usry. I've never heard of him before, but he could have been a Mason. All right, the chat is getting weird. We all need to calm down quite a bit at the moment. And no, we're not dating. The purpose of the channel is not to try to get dates. So very sorry to disappoint you. Go on a dating app, find somebody that way. We're going to be ending this stream soon. Give it another, let's say, 10, 20 minutes. Because it is, after all, 2 in the morning at the moment. Sorry, Millie, you're on your own with this. When you want to talk about Freemasonry or things just in general, by all means, looking for dates on YouTube Lives is not the good approach to take. Yes, I know, but that's not the purpose of this stream. Chosen one, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. You can't smell farts through the phone, so you need to keep that in mind as well. Freemasonry, it's the internal, not external, so you can have a full head of hair or be bald. That's not relevant to Freemasonry. Maybe I'm just getting more comfortable. Or maybe I did fart. That's going to be a mystery that maybe you'll never solve. No, although I will say I've been to some Masonic Lodge meetings where some people have busted some farts, which was very interesting. It's been known to happen. Better a empty house than a bad tenant. And don't do that. And if it does continue and you are crapping pants, maybe talk to a doctor if you can't hold it in. Well, then don't stick around. There's no rules that say you have to still be here. Oh, for God's sakes. Well, sometimes it's called a mosaic pavement. Sometimes it's called a checkerboard. Depends on where you're at and what you're talking about specifically. Generally speaking, you can think about it as a way to consider the dichotomy between good and evil, or the uncertainty of day-to-day life, and to remain temperate in these challenges. You'd have to ask each Freemason. There is no single Masonic perspective on any of these issues, which you know. I don't know what the three-headed dragon is, to be honest, but it sounds suspicious. Nope, I didn't, Arlene. And if you believe that, you're a dumb person. Freemasonry does not do anything illegal, immoral, or against one's civic, religious, or familiar responsibilities, nor would it do anything to mutilate anybody. So if you believe that, you're a stupid person. It's not okay to do that anywhere, and if it's happening frequently, you should contact a doctor. So the founding fathers were not all Freemasons. Approximately, roughly, 13 of the 39 signers of the Declaration of Independence were Freemasons. So that works out to, give or take, about 33%. I mean, I'm sure it's fun, but it seems like it'd be pretty unhygienic and not fun for anybody around you. It also seems like it'd be pretty dangerous for your health and well-being. Well, about that, 13 out of 39, so that's what? That's about 30, that's about 33%. That's about a third, give or take. Sometimes coincidences happen. And keep in mind, you should be respectful to your colleagues by not pooping your pants. And again, if it's happening frequently, you should talk to a doctor. Probably a clandestine Mason, sublime, meaning he claimed to be part of a Masonic group or organization, but the likelihood is he was not part of a legitimate one. It's questionable. He was most likely clandestine. Well, I don't think you're Brock Lesnar, but if you are, I'm not going to say anything back to you because you could kill me quite easily. I will say, though, please hit the like button and please hit the subscribe button. No, Husafel, I do not. I think that's a very fun fictional story that was the basis of a really great movie. However, I do not think that actually happened. I mean, Jason, I don't disagree with you. I think being obsessed with material wealth is a very dangerous game to play, which is why I think it's so beneficial to humanity and for humanity to have things like Freemasonry in the world, which focus not on the external but on the internal. Um, I support any tape measure, I suppose. Uh, I mean, term limits, as a general rule, I'm not a fan of term limits because I think it's undemocratic. Having said that, unfortunately, when you have such rampant problems with electoral politics, and certainly with the guy in there now, I'm not a fan of. I think probably term limits are actually a pretty healthy thing. Um, well, Scott, maybe the algorithm wants you to hit the like button and the subscribe button. All right, we're going to give this another 5 minutes. and then we'll end this stream. It's been a fun stream. Yeah, it was very, very popular for a while. Goes in and out. Because I took a break, what happens is if you take a break regularly, the consequence of that is, it takes a little while for the algorithm to start boosting you once again. But you just keep working on it, you go from there. Scott, I got to hear you about 10 minutes to find out what you're about. So are you saying I need to be more direct about what I'm talking about or mention it more often so that people know what I'm talking about earlier on? Pike didn't say crazy things. Pike said his own things. Pike gave his own philosophies of Freemasonry. He did not speak for Freemasonry, right? That's the thing you need to understand. Nor was he some type of powerful figure. He was a powerful figure within the Scottish Rite, Southern jurisdiction. That doesn't mean he had any influence or power over craft lodges or over many other pennant bodies or over York Rite or really even over Northern jurisdiction in a lot of ways. It was great, Jason. It was busy, it was exhausting, but it was really fun and really special, and I loved it. I don't think so, Sublime. I mean, none that I know of. There are different people, right? I mean, and not just different people, but different. Did they even live at the same time? I guess they did. Looking at when Karl Marx was alive, he passed away 1883. Um, so they were around about the same time, but I don't think they had any connection or any involvement with one another. I could be mistaken, but you look asleep. Well, I'm very tired. It is 2:30 a.m. I'm going to sleep soon. But Trevor, please hit like and subscribe. Is you there? I am here. My grandpa from Scotland, my grandma from Ireland. Cool. I was just in Scotland a little while ago. I love it. I thought it was incredible country. I was in Edinburgh. Beautiful city. Okay, well then, I mean, I'm glad they made it here. I'm glad they could marry because since they married, you are now here. So I guess it happened for a reason. Well, I get a decent amount of sleep. Usually I go to bed around 2:30. I get up around 10. So 7 to 8. That's awesome, Scott. I'm working on getting my dual citizenship myself with the UK because my dad's from there. So I think that'd be really, really cool. As long as Masons are on the side of good, I'm okay with them. I mean, Freemasonry is a civic organization, so by definition, I think it's on the side of good because civic connection, civic support, civic engagement has been shown to be good at a definitional or most basic or technical level. All the evidence, and this goes to Robert Putnam, Bowling Alone, Join or Die, all the evidence shows that when communities have high levels of civic engagement through Freemasonry, through the Elks, through the Moose, whatever it might be, the communities are better, healthier, people live longer, and have um, greater lives. I mean, at the very tippy top of the pyramid, I don't know what you mean by there is no Masonic pyramid. There is no tippy top. That's not how it works. There is no single governing body controlling Freemasonry globally. There's jurisdictions and there's decentralized governance. For example, the lodge in when I joined Freemasonry, I joined in Ontario. There is a single there's a Grand Master here. He sets rules for Freemasonry within Ontario. He does not set rules for Freemasonry in Manitoba or Freemasonry in Texas. They're different jurisdictions. Each one has sovereignty within the jurisdiction, but cannot set rules outside of it. Um, so there is no tippy top of the pyramid. Welcome from Kilwinning, Mike Oxmel. Please hit like and subscribe. It doesn't surprise me. California is not a cheap place to live, but it's also a beautiful state. Well, at least you hit the like and subscribe, so I'm grateful for that. Dan, we're talking about Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have about Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral? I'd love to hear them. Having said that, we will be leaving the stream soon, so please keep that in mind. Sometimes mortgage is the better choice. Sometimes it's rent. It just depends on the circumstances. I look like the character from Uncharted 4. Cool. I'll take it. I will take it. I'm grateful. Mini-Me, well, that's not as good, but please hit like and subscribe nonetheless. Levi, please hit like and subscribe as well. Keep in mind, I'll be back on at 1 p.m. tomorrow. All right, I think we'll be ending this stream now. Oh. I loved California. I thought it was incredible because I'm so smart. Never heard of Baphomet until I started this stream, and people kept telling me that Freemasons worship him, which they don't. I have no idea who Baphomet is. I understand he's another name for the devil. It's not part of Freemasonry. If Master Blaster, thank you, Mike Creed. I don't know who Master Blaster is, but he sounds awesome and very handsome. Well, thank you, Rear. Most people say I look ugly. I'll be streaming again at 1 p.m. Eastern, so about 11 hours from now. I usually stream 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. I also try to do interviews, so it's been a while since I've done one. But I do my best to stream regularly, talk about Freemasonry, pick different topics that I think are relevant. So, yeah. It's about what you're like on the inside, not about what you're like on the outside that matters. Well, rear wheel, I can talk. Rear wheel slider, that's a hard thing to say. Are you attracted to hitting the like button and the subscribe button? Because you better be. Oh, I keep meaning to do that. I have to find this software. The problem is, all the software costs money to get, but it'd be a good idea to do because I think that would help a lot with the channel. It's just the expense of it. It seems to be expensive. All right, guys, this has been a fun 1 a.m. stream. I will be back on at 1 p.m. technically today, very soon, so you'll find me there. Please, as always, take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, fart. If you're having too many sharts, what you need to do is talk to the doctor. I'll see what I can do. Maybe I can find a trial run, give it a shot, see how it goes. It's worth exploring without a doubt. So I'll look into it. And I'll see everybody again soon. Everybody have an excellent night. And by the way, I want to say thank you for all the people who supported the March 28th Community Services Fair. It went very well. It was a blast. I loved it. So thank you everybody for the support. I'm very grateful. Talk to everybody soon.